You are going to learn a little bit about pastel painting today from a brilliant pastel artist. Please welcome Jane McGraw-Teubner. Jane, I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you, Eric. I'm very glad to be here too.
Yeah, well, let's get this thing rolling in a minute. But first, what are we going to do?
I'm going to do a pastel demonstration of landscape, and I'll be using, it'll be about color harmony. When pastel artists, especially when you first start, there are thousands of pastels to choose from. So I'm going to work with a limited palette. And I use this sometimes, the analogous color wheel.
Yeah.
This is a great thing. It's how we...
in front of you so we can see it.
Okay, right there. Can you see it?
Yeah, okay.
And this gives me an idea of the limited colors that I should use so that I don't wind up using every color in my pastel box. When oil painters paint, they usually have a limited amount of tubes of paint, but pastel artists, they arrive on location or they in their studio, we have thousands of colors.
Right.
So you don't want to put thousands of colors in your painting.
Right.
So I've made a little color chart and I've isolated the pastels that I'm using. So I will just work on this analogous color landscape.
Oh, cool. Well, we're looking forward to that. I'll tell you what, I'll let you get your camera reset and I'll hop off, make a couple of quick announcements.
Okay.
We're glad you're here. All right. Well, Jane McGraw-Teubner is here with us today, and we're excited about learning about pastel and color harmony. I'm Eric Rhoads. I'm the publisher of Fine Art Connoisseur, Plein Air Magazine, and Streamlined Art. We do things for artists. I'm an artist myself. I'm coming to you from my art studio in Austin, Texas, and love painting. Been doing it a long time and still always trying to get better at it. So today is day number 279. We have been here consistently every day since coronavirus quarantine began, and we wanted to be here for you just to kind of keep you focused on something other than the virus and the politics and the year 2020, which is just kind of crazy. So that's what we're here. We have a winner, which I announced yesterday, and that is Loretta Berg Sampson from Oregon, who is going to get the Daniel Sprick Portraits DVD, which is a really fabulous DVD. We have these things, of course, in DVD and streaming, and I'm looking for a picture of it, but I don't have it. Anyway, it's a fabulous DVD, and of course, Dan Sprick is one of the finest living artists today in the world, and to be able to watch him paint is pretty cool. So you're going to get that, Loretta. Congratulations. Now, also, we're giving away a digital subscription to Plein Air Magazine, and that is for comments. So if you have a comment, just put it in the comments section. We love to know where you're from, where you're tuning in from, what country, etc. And so just put a comment in there, and then we'll grab from the comments, both on the live and on the replay. And that way you have a chance of winning this beautiful magazine. And the magazine is published bi-monthly. It's very elegant, high quality paper, beautiful images, and it's all about the plein air movement. And the plein air movement is really the plein air painters and the plein air collectors and the events. And as a result, we do a little of everything. You know, a lot of people go to these events so that they can see how people paint. So we put a little of that in there, a little for you to learn, etc. So the digital has 20% more content than the print, and so a lot of people do both. Anyway, that's the prize for tomorrow. We also publish Fine Art Connoisseur magazine, which is fabulous, and we do a lot of other things. As a matter of fact, if you want to see everything we do, go to streamlinepublishing.com/everything, and that's where you'll see all the newsletters, conferences, events, artist retreats, and so much more. I hope everybody's had a great Christmas and ready to rocket into the new year. I know it's just a couple more days left and we're ready for 2020 to be over. My goodness, our heads are spinning, you know. It's probably from not getting full oxygen, breathing through our masks. All right. So in case you missed it, there's still a couple seats left for the Paint Russia. Just go to paintrussia.com. We're going to go in the fall. God willing, we're going to be able to go. And we are also going to be having the Plein Air Convention in Colorado in May. Go to pleinairconvention.com. If you are watching this, and you just know that we're here every day live at 12 noon on Facebook and YouTube, and then we push it out also to Instagram, Twitter, and other places. And so if you ever want to find us, if you're discovering this for the first time, just search Streamline Art on Facebook or YouTube, and you'll find it, and then you can subscribe or follow. On YouTube, if you hit subscribe, you'll have access to the 279 days worth of content that we've done since this began, times 2, because every day at 3 o'clock, we also come on and share some of the great masters that we have done videos with, including today, the great pastel master Albert Handel, and painting rocks in oil. You're going to get a chance to see how he did this phenomenal painting. It's just got such a delicate touch, and it's from this video, painting water and rocks in oil. And so you'll get a chance to see that. Of course, Albert does incredible other things and has a couple other videos out, mastering pastels. And he also does one in painting in oil, which I didn't even know he was an oil painter, and he's fabulous, just fabulous. Tomorrow, we have a special guest, and that will be revealed to you soon. And so the last thing I want to show you real quickly is I want to show you this.
Have you ever wanted to learn to paint in watercolor but don't think you have the talent? Most master artists will tell you that painting is a skill anyone can learn. If you follow a process, you too can paint beautiful artwork. You could spend $3,000 or more to attend a live workshop or convention. Or you could learn from the world's finest for a fraction of the cost at Watercolor Live, the world's first virtual online art conference devoted to water media. 3 days of world-class artists demonstrating in portraiture, landscapes, still life, the human figure, cityscapes, color mixing, and more. Get to know other artists and instructors personally through our breakout sessions, and we'll even paint and draw together at the end of each day in the safety of your own home. Make new friends in our breakout sessions. Paint with hundreds of others. Get private access to our exclusive members group to become part of our community, and learn to take your artwork to a higher level. Watercolor Live, 3 full days of watercolor instruction from the world's best. January 28th to 30th. And for people who want to learn painting from scratch, start with our Beginner's Day on January 27th. Soon you'll be painting faces, people, flowers, scenery, objects, and other subjects. You'll see your artwork improve faster as you learn from top artists and instructors from all over the world. Make history as part of the world's first watercolor art conference. Sign up today and join the world as we learn art together from these amazing artists. Joseph Zbukvich, Linda Daly Baker, Jean Peterson, Mario A. Robinson, John Salmonen, Thomas W. Schaller, Suni Warren, Matthew Bird, Andy Evenson, Michael Holter, Pablo Rubin, Daniel Marshall, Lauren McCracken, Angus McEwen, Kim Minicello, Ian Stewart, Brenda Swenson, Keiko Tonabe, Stephen Zhang, Birgit O'Connor, Shuang Li, Antonio Masi, Larry Moore, Glenn Knowles, and many more to come. Why not use this time to learn a new skill so you can amaze your friends and family with your paintings? Watercolor Live, from the publishers of Plein Air Magazine and American Watercolor. Sign up by January 10th and save up to $500 off the retail price.
Well, just about a month from now, a little less than a month from now, it's just unbelievable. It's going to go by so quickly. Anyway, Watercolor Live coming up. Make sure you get registered before the 20th of January to save the money. Tomorrow, I started to mention who's on tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be Brian Sindler, fabulous painter, kind of a tonalist, and you're going to get a chance to watch him paint. So today, our guest is Jane McGraw-Teubner, and this is one of her paintings. You're going to see a couple more here. Look at the beauty of it. You could just see through that water and see the rocks underneath below. I'd love to know how to do that. She's a pastel painter, a fabulous pastel painter, I might add. And look at that beautiful work. Good composition, good everything. Really, really, really pretty. And so now let's bring her on, and she's going to be doing a little bit of a demo for us. So Jane, it looks like you've kind of laid in something. You want to tell us about what's going on here?
Yes, I've done an underpainting here. This is a scene from the Adirondacks, which is not that far from my house. It's about 4 hours. One of these days, I'd like to go to your plein air event up there, Eric. But this is from the Adirondacks, and I've laid it in doing an underpainting using alcohol and pastel. So this way I have the pure pigment. It is a 100% pastel painting. And what I have done on the side here is I've laid out my colors beforehand using the analogous color wheel, where I've picked my main colors up here, and then these are the discords. Then I've added some neutrals down here, which really I feel the neutrals hold the painting together. And
now, why do you use alcohol?
I use alcohol, 90% alcohol as a wash.
Just
And it
rubbing
dries
alcohol?
very quickly. Rubbing alcohol right from the drugstore.
Ah, okay.
So
And what are you painting on? What's the surface?
this is a new paper called Lux Archival, and it's a sanded surface. So it takes a lot of abuse. It takes a lot of layers, and it's fairly new. I think it's just been out less than a year, and I've fallen in love with it. I really like it.
And where in the Adirondacks did you go?
This is Chestertown, which is not far from Lake George, a little bit inland. It's by Friends Lake and Loon Lake.
All right.
So
I know just where it is. I have a home in the Adirondacks, and we spend summers there. We have a big event in June, which is our 10th annual Adirondack event. So, okay, I'm going to let you go ahead and get started.
Okay.
I will jump in from questions from time to time from the people in the comments and maybe tell you where they're listening from.
Okay, when I started painting a landscape painting, I love painting on location, but right now it's the winter time and it's a little cold. But I like to get the furthest first. So I like to put depth in my painting right from the start. And then from that point, I work towards the foreground. That way I establish the spaces between each element. Like these are trees in the background. I'm going to push them further back than they actually are in my photo. And then I'll bring things gradually forward. So the sky is pretty simple. These are trees in the background, which I'll establish that and that relationship, and the relationship between the trees and the sky. So gradually each one gets built up with a relationship, using as my most important thing that I want to portray in the painting. So I'll get started on that. And I use these colors. I have a very limited palette here, and I will be using more colors, but I don't want to put too much color in my underpainting. So,
and do you press real lightly at this stage?
I press very lightly, and I don't put too much pastel on the underpainting because it could get a little gummy.
Try the best you can not to block what you're painting with your hand, because it's hard to see it. Yeah, thank you. That could be a mountain too.
It could be. It's right now it's trees, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
Well, not anything, but.
And do you typically use something to filter out the pastel dust?
What do you mean filter out?
Well, I know some people don't want to breathe pastel dust. I just wondered if that's something you did.
I have an air filter that I usually have on in my studio here, and I never ever blow pastels. That is a big
really
deal.
why?
To blow the dust away, the dust will just blow right back into your face and breathe it in. So
Oh, let's see you do that. I want to watch that happen.
When the pandemic hit, I did have lots of masks in my studio, so sometimes I wear them. It depends upon what I'm doing.
That's
When
one
I'm cleaning
benefit
the
to being a pastel
pastels,
painter.
when I'm doing the pastels, cleaning them, I wear the mask. But I try not to create too dust.
When you say you're cleaning them, what does that mean? I didn't know you had to clean them.
Well, they get dirty. They like this. You have to
Oh, just wiping them out. Yeah.
wiping them out. That creates a lot of dust. Block my sky in. Pastels can be a little noisy on sanded paper.
Do you have a particular brand of pastel that you like to use?
It depends upon what I'm doing. Some are softer than others. I have some hard pastels here, which I use a lot in the beginning. And then these are Terry Ludwig's that are just wonderful. And I made these two pastels from the dust in my studio.
Huh.
So these are very nice grays. One's a green gray and one's more neutral gray. So I collect the dust and make these wonderful gray pastels.
How do you collect the dust?
Well, underneath my board here, I have a little trough, and that all the dust falls in.
Oh, okay.
And then I collect that dust in a like a mortar and pestle, grind it up a bit, and then you add some water because it already has the binder in it, and you can make these wonderful pastels.
Oh, nice.
So it's a little time consuming, but it's a color, usually the colors, you can't buy those colors.
Right, because they're kind of a mixture of grays and things that have fallen together.
Yes, and most of my work is a landscape, so my pastels tend to be green, unless I'm working on an ocean scene, and then they lean blue. Because here on Long Island, we have, I have the North Shore, which gives you these wonderful marshland scenes. And then we have the South Shore, which is the Atlantic Ocean. So we have the best of both worlds here as far as water scenes go. So a lot of my work is, one of the paintings you showed is a local scene of marshland, just a local park, a state park here on Long Island. I'm getting rid of some of this green here, making this a little bit more neutral.
It really changed the look very quickly.
Yes, I
Almost,
don't want to.
almost feels like a misty dew on top of the grass.
Yeah, it is. Well, I think it was. My photo here has it. So this had a beautiful reflection of this cloud here. I'm going to make this a little darker. A little too light for me. I don't want it to get confused as a cloud. It's too close in hue and value.
Everything's about relative comparison, isn't it?
Yes, relationships. So I want to get some more light on this. And my cloud kind of turned into a big lump here, which I have to watch out for. So I'll change the shape of this a bit. And I don't rub pastels. I know a lot of artists do, but I prefer to have the pastel crystals, as they call them, lay on top of each other. And once you start rubbing, I think you take away from some of the light that hits the pastel. It's the same pigment as oils, but there's a binder in it. Here. It's quite dark down
Yeah, we're
here.
getting a lot of glare on that cloud. It's really hard for us to tell what's
There's
happening there.
glare? Because pastels usually don't have much glare.
Well, maybe it's just kind of blowing it
Maybe
out
it's-
because it's white. The camera is, that's probably
Oh,
what's
I
happening.
have a light on top. Maybe that's
Yeah, that's okay. We're fine.
interfering.
We'll get through it.
Okay. This is a little bit of a discord here. The glow and throw in some. Tone this down. Pink here. I'm going to cut some more in here. This.
Now, do you go out and do any
touch.
plein air work, or do you strictly?
Yes.
You do.
Yes. I've been to East End quite a few times. The competition down there.
Uh-huh. Well, that's quite an honor. If you're in Eastern, that's a pretty big deal.
Yes, that was. I think I've been there 5 times. So
Wow.
it's an experience. Now I'll build something a little bit closer.
Okay.
Which is the trees on the left. These are a little bit closer than those trees. So I'm going to use one of my nice neutral greens without doing too much detail. I don't want to put a lot of detail in these trees.
And typically with pastel, do you start dark to light, or does it matter?
Yes, it's just like oil painting. You do start dark to light. It's too hard to, once you put some lights down, and if you want to make it darker, the pastel can get a little chalky. So you want to avoid that when you're working with pastel. So it's dark to light, just like oil painting is usually dark to light.
Okay.
I'll put some other these discord colors in here. I love the way the green and the purple play against each other.
They're just beautiful together. About the same value.
Yes, yeah, I like working with colors that have different temperatures, but the same value. It's tricky, but it can be very effective. I need a couple little something in front of here, just to break that up a bit. Now I will switch to the other side and work from this edge back. Little stray pines in here, and this nice one just sitting out, getting silhouetted. I don't want to make them all the same. Now these go back in almost like a tier, getting closer. These are further away. These are closer to me. So I want to get that feeling.
So how do you do that?
By putting a little light here, and so I have a dark here, light here, to give that the same thing, to give it depth. And I like to, one of my favorite things to do is I love cutting out the negative shapes where
Nice.
I can put in, that way I can see through this, so it's not so dense. In my photo, it's pretty dense, but I'm using my artistic license to just lighten this up a bit.
You know, I haven't been able to figure out where to get my artistic license. I went to the license bureau. They didn't have any. I don't know where to get it.
I have to renew mine all the time.
Yeah.
And I'll use the negative shapes to reshape this also by having the blue come down and creep into these trees. The same thing here.
Is there anything that you do where typically where the trees meet the sky? Is there a particular approach you take? Do you want it to be softer, sharper? Just depends on the scene. How do you deal with that?
The higher they go up, the softer I like it. And because our eyes can't focus all the way up there. But usually I do this with working the negative shape instead of trying to draw a tree, that you just come in with this. And then it gets, that way it's a little bit more abstract. So it's not so rendered. I'd rather leave a little bit up to the imagination. So you don't have to, I don't want to draw, these are all pine trees, so I'm not going to draw all those branches. So I'll put some negative shapes in here. I'll just show you this way. Where I create the stem of the trunk of the tree and then go back in with like drawing some branches that way. And it's more of an abstract approach than rendering it. And I want you to be able to see into these trees, not like it's a dense wall. So once I get some different colors on here, so I'm still sticking with what I have over here. This is my color here, of my nice neutrals. And I go back and forth with the darks and the lights. This will be pretty dark over here. And I'll put a couple indications of a sort of a gray trunk. I'll come back and down in here. You can come down a bit in here. So
It's nice for sky holes.
Yeah, I like doing sky holes.
I've been playing with oil pastels lately on top of my oil paintings, and I need to try that for sky holes.
Oh. I've never done oil pastels. So now I'm going to move down. I think I'll just calm this down a bit. Getting some glow. So I do want some glow on here. This is my Discord color here.
Can you explain what you mean by Discord color?
It has to do with a complementary color.
Right.
And in that wheel I use, they're called discords instead of complementary, where they give you two choices of discord. The other one would be, I have the blue purple, purple and blue green, and opposite that is a yellow and a yellow green with a red as being the discord. So it's really a complementary. It's the way that this the man that created this color wheel called it, because they're not quite complementary because there's two of them. So there's two notes of discord. Meaning, you know, it's opposite on the color wheel. And I like this. I want to get a little bit of glow where sun would be shining too. This is another one of my neutral colors. Where almost the color gets washed out where the sun's hitting it. I tend to have a light touch when I do pastels.
Nice.
And I want to get this to be somewhat layered instead of the danger when you do grasses like this, marsh grass almost, it tends to look like a wall. But I want this to be a layer and a layer and a layer. So it gradually, you can feel the depth of the painting.
Right.
See how noisy they are?
Yeah, they are.
When I first started doing pastels, I went to the Art Students League in New York City, and I used to get dirty looks from the oil painters because they would be silent except for the scratching of the pastels.
Who did you study with at Art Students League?
Richard Pionk, who was a wonderful teacher. Unfortunately, he passed away right about 2 years after I stopped taking classes with him. He had been sick for a while. A little too dark here. Now this can be very abstract down here. And one of these wonderful things in my photo here is that this pond here has this glow on it. It has this sparkle. Actually, that's too light. To get a little darker. A little reflection here. Wonderful little glow here that this pond has, reflecting some of that sky light up here. And it goes all the way over to here. So I love the way the colors, the pastel lays on the sanded paper, and your eye has to blend it. Where you can, when you can see through the pastel to the color underneath.
Oh, that's really pretty.
Thank you. Get this. So having this limited palette, it prevents me from adding some crazy colors.
Probably also very convenient for going outdoors.
Yes, it is. When I've traveled to different places, I usually pack, colors that would be for the area. Like upstate New York, you have to bring every green that you've ever seen in the summertime. It's so green up there.
Yeah.
And pastels are pretty, you can do a painting on location in 2 hours. And they're very forgiving. Pastels are very forgiving. If you make a mistake, you can brush it off. You don't get the all the pigment off, but you do get the extra dust, so it doesn't mix in with the pastel the new pastel you're putting on. So many, you can, on this paper, you can put all kinds of layers. I don't know, 25 layers. I've never done 25 layers, but
you could.
You could. I wish you wouldn't have to. Section here. It was a little too vivid. And there's some, I guess, some algae or something floating on this. And this way it'll look more like water. I want this to not look like sky. I want it to be a flat surface. So a very good way of doing this is like you take the edge here and just run it along. So you don't get a straight edge by this. It's just a broken edge. Go back to my edge. So many of my pastels are a little too crooked. My square ones have worn down into round ones because I use these edges so much. I'll put a little bit out here. Too much. So now I have this, let's get more of the sky but down here. I'm not even sure I used all my colors up there, so I'm using fewer colors than I had even planned. I think my purple here is a little too vivid, so I'm going to gray that down. Yeah, I like that better. It has slight purple look, but it didn't seem to go with the rest of the painting. Get this a little bit more of an edge here. So this is still quite a colorful painting, but it is a limited palette.
Well, that's one thing I've learned over as I mature as an artist is that you can have a very gray painting that looks very colorful because when things are toned down, it's actually more pleasing.
Yes. Well,
Couple spots of color make it come alive.
When I first started with pastels, I wanted every bright color that I could get my hands on, and I wanted to use all of them. But as you mature, you do appreciate the grays.
Yeah, I love bright colors.
Oh, I do too. I love paintings that are bright colors, but it's not my nature.
Yeah.
Now a couple more. I have a couple little trees here that I want to put in to give this. I don't want them to meet, but to make this as a stand.
Really love those purples and those greens.
Purple and green together are just such a wonderful combination.
It's not something I think of when I'm painting.
You have to do a couple.
And did you discover that from that analogous color wheel?
No, Richard McKinley. I took a couple workshops with him, and
he's
he
so
loved
good.
the purple and green. Yes, he's very good. So make this a little bit rougher down here. Change it so it's not. I have too many horizontals here, so I'm going to just rough this up a little bit. If I was there in person, this cloud would have been gone by the time I finished, so there'd be another cloud to take its place.
Of course.
You can play around with the clouds. They change so much. A little bit of that negative space in these trees to break them up a bit.
That's looking remarkably good compared to what we saw in the beginning.
Well, that was the foundation. I like to build a foundation for the painting before I start. And I think I'll add just a little bit more of this discord color in here. I like the green, the way the green and the orange play together too.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important what colors you put next to each other. These complementary colors. It's green, but it's a very dull green and a orangey red. And I think I'll just take this and put a little bit of light. I'm going to try this to see if this works. Kind of reflecting what I have there. if there was some hitting this.
Well, draws you back, makes you feel like there's another lake
Yeah.
or something back there.
Yeah, just a little something back here, that there's something going on. In my original photo, these were on the same line, but I don't want them on the same line.
Yeah.
I could even bring them up a little bit so that that's further away. I'll just add a little bit more glue to this edge to push this back a little bit. Now this is a very hard pastel, so. But with the sanded paper, you don't have to worry about getting locked out.
What do you mean?
That's
What's
a
that mean?
danger. If you put too much pastel on, if you use a hard pastel over soft pastel, all it does is scratch it away. So you don't get
Oh.
any of this pastel off, and you wind up taking the pastel that's on the board, you wind up scraping it off. But with the sanded paper, you don't have that problem. But I do tend to work hard pastels to soft pastels.
Oh, you do?
Yes. Most of my underpainting was with hard pastels.
Okay.
So the dark purple, this is a new pastel. And this other one is a Caran d'Ache. So I save them for the beginning. And then when you go to put on a Terry Ludwig, there's no problem. But it usually happens with a smoother surface.
So Terry Ludwig are pretty soft.
Oh yeah, they're wonderful. These are wonderfully soft, yeah. Little highlight here. But you know, I love they have so many wonderful pastels. When I first started, there was limited paper and limited brands. Some of the brands have disappeared, but now there's Blue Earth, which is a new pastel. That's fairly new. It's a couple of years old.
Well, it's very important right now that we all support these companies, because some of them are little tiny mom and pop companies that survival is critical.
Yes. There was an art store on Long Island that people, they didn't have a problem getting customers, but you know, it's a mom and pop, but they couldn't get distributors to give them a lot of supplies because they were so small. So that was a local store on Long Island.
Well, it really feels reflection-like in there.
Well, I love doing water. Lately, I have been into doing those see-through rocks that you pointed out when I like looking into the water and seeing down into it. So.
Yeah, I just am showing one of the ones with the see-through rocks. I'll just show a couple other paintings. Here's the one with the see-through rocks.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's just really beautiful.
Yeah, that was fun to do.
Well, this is really terrific. Really
well,
beautiful.
Thank you, Eric. It was fun.
So are you pretty much where you want it to be? You've got a couple more minutes if you need a little more time?
I could probably fuss with it a little bit more. I'm not that happy with this cloud up here. And I wanted to do some like drift away. Now, instead of rubbing this or using white, I'm using a pale blue to make a lighter cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
So that it's, you know, I don't use white over this because it fades right into so I have this soft edge here now.
Nice.
And by using the lighter blue, you can give a little bit more interest to this is solid, where it's not another white cloud, just like something in the background. It gives the sky a little bit more depth.
A little bit of sense of mist.
Yes. It almost looks purple up here, but it is blue.
Yeah, that's fabulous. So what are the decisions you're making at the point at which you're going to say, okay, I'm close to wrapping it up? What are the final little touches you do? Oftentimes people will save like their bright spots or their whites or something like that. What would you typically do?
I usually take a step back and look at the whole composition. Like right now, I have this arc here. Can you see that?
Yep. Yeah.
That I would take care of that. I tried to fix it before, but maybe it's looking like a mustache to me.
Well, once you say it, now I see it.
Yes. Once you see it, then you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
So I'll just.
Yeah. What I'm seeing is a lip in the beginning of a lower lip.
Yes. And usually I find those things after I put them in a frame.
Yeah.
Alligators in the sky and. Just blend this in a little bit.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, I guess,
in the end.
Look in a mirror and just see what
Mm-hmm.
shapes and things stand out.
Yeah. Just bring this cloud down. So I'm getting rid of the lips and the mustache. That's better. That gives that a little bit more depth too.
I did a self-portrait in a mountain one time. I took a picture of myself and drew my profile and then made that into the mountain.
Oh, well.
I just thought it'd be kind of fun to put a little subtle something in there. You wouldn't know it's there unless you know it's there. But once you see it, you can't get rid of it.
Can't unsee it. So this is when you get into trouble, when you start messing around with things.
Yeah, you can overdo it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I sit and look at the painting for a while and make judgments after I walk away from it and come back.
Sure. Yeah.
But I find that sometimes somebody comes into my studio at night and they make it much better. They paint and the gremlins come in and they finish my painting.
How nice of them.
And I get up and say, wow, it's all done. I don't remember doing it.
Well, there's a lot of value in time and perspective.
Yes.
I love to just put them away for a couple of months and come back to them, see them with fresh eyes.
I don't put them away for a couple of months. I put them away for days, or I play a trick with myself. I put them on my easel, and when I walk into my studio, I keep my eyes closed and put the light on it and open it up so that it's the first thing I see. And you see a lot. You're looking at it with fresh eyes, and nothing else interferes. So you see things that you didn't see before.
Well, that is just lovely. Jane, why don't you come back on camera real quickly before we say goodbye? Thumbs up and applause. What a beautiful job you've done.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Well, that was well worth all the effort.
Okay. Yes, it was a bit of an effort.
Yeah, Jane and I had a little secret, and that is that we had to spend a lot of time working on tech to get it going, but we got it. And she came up with the idea that worked. I had no idea. Here is Jane's website, Jane McGraw-Teubner, TEUBNER.com. What will they find there?
Well, I have most of my paintings are on the website, and I have some galleries listed, and I hope they enjoy the website.
Why don't you tell people? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Tell people quickly about the Pastel Society, because you're wearing an apron.
Yes, that's Pastel Society of America. They were
fabulous organization.
They were founded in the 1970s when pastel was not a very well respected medium, and they've built the they have helped build the respect that pastel is getting, and more shows are getting more pastel paintings in them. So it's a great society.
It's a beautiful thing, and a very good organization. They do a great event every 2 years in Albuquerque, right?
Yes. Well, no, that's International Pastel Society of America.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pastel Societies. That is the umbrella organization, and the Pastel Society is one of the organizations.
I'm sorry, I confused that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
but you all you all kind of get together there.
Yes, all the pastel societies. The last time I went to the convention, there were people from China, Australia, Europe. It's a worldwide event.
Yeah, kind of like this. We got people watching from all over the world today. So fabulous.
It's a small world now.
It is a small world. We're all one big art family, and now everybody's looking to you. You've done a beautiful job on pastel and teaching us and inspired us. And if I could paint like you, I might pick up pastels.
Well, I think it's an easier medium than oil pastels.
I don't know enough about it to know yet. I don't have any experience.
I started in oils, and then once I got to pastels, I never looked back.
All right. Well, Jane, thank you so much for being on today. We really loved having you as our guest. Everybody visit her website, and we'll have you back someday.
Okay. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you, Jane. Pleasure. All right. Jane McGraw-Teubner, and what a fabulous pastel painter. Thank you guys for tuning in today. This is day number 279, in case you tuned in late. And we're here every day during coronavirus I started to say vaccination, during when we're self-quarantined, so that we can keep you entertained and keep you focused on loving art and learning art and growing in art, rather than focusing on the world. I want to remind you guys, Watercolor Live is coming up in about a little less than a month. And you want to
join the world for Watercolor Live, the ultimate watercolor learning event, January 27th to 30th. 4 days of online art lessons from top master watercolor artists from around the globe. Learn to paint nature, people, cityscapes, flowers, and more. Become a better artist. Click the link to learn more and get our free ebook, 101 Watercolor Secrets from the Top Masters.
Okay, I want to tell you guys, tomorrow we have Brian Sindler on with us. We're getting closer to the end of 2020. That's a beautiful thing. Just saying, this is the year that I think we would all prefer not to repeat, although we all learned a lot from it, and we all we probably had some positives out of it. So stay strong, stay positive, stay upbeat, no matter what's going on. Focus on your art whenever you can, and don't spend your life doom scrolling. You don't want to bring your mood down. You've got to stay elevated, stay upbeat. And I want to remind you guys to get your goals going for your 2021. You guys should check into something to help you with your goals and give you some ideas on selling your art, if that's what you're into. You can get this at Amazon. It's called Make More Money Selling Your Art. And a reminder to check out the Plein Air podcast every week. This week will be someone different, and you want to just check that out. Thank you guys for watching. And again, thanks to Jane. What a fabulous demo. Did a beautiful painting, and I'm so envious of her talent. Thank you. I'm Eric Rhoads, publisher of Fine Art Connoisseur, Plein Air Magazine, and Stream